Hi, it's been a while. I know life gets in the way and I'm trying to keep up with the readings. And then things just happen, my back goes out, it can't, and there's no point in reading something which is so full of love when you're in pain. And so I really wanted to wait till it was kind of special and the right timing because timing is everything. And sometimes we rush around, it's got to be now. Actually, sometimes you've got to wait a week and it'll be better. Anyway, I just thought I'd continue on beingwithspirit.com, just continuing reading, seeing, feeling, hearing, and being with spirit. And this is chapter 9, the bigger picture. It's only a short chapter, so I'm just going to go through it all. And it kind of explains bigger reasons why. Why are people cruel? Why does this happen? And that's what it is. It's the bigger picture. So I'm going to give it a nudge and hopefully I won't fall over my words that often, if at all. All right. The Bigger Picture by our Noah, Chapter 9. Hello, and so we are here again to help pass messages through to you that will help all of mankind. We wonder why often people are so cruel to each other. We come from a place of love and hope that you will too. We understand for that some this is really hard, especially if their upbringing has been violent and challenging. Unfortunately, this sets it up for the children to learn the wrong lessons. We think of all the little children that are so cruelly worked and used for the profiteers to make their living. These children are not fulfilling their contract, and as we observe these cruel and heartless people, they are full of greed and no compassion. Unfortunately, they have strayed from their contract and are following their own free will. Eventually, they will suffer, not in the foreseeable future, but when they get older and lonely, and the soul will be suffering. We know life is hard and that there is also your contract. The persecution of these child slaves is not in their contract, but they are the brunt of somebody else's ego. The harder lessons in life are often set to be worked out in the adulthood of a person. This is where the suffering and the learning really takes place. Sometimes we do not understand why these cruel people are doing this, but sadly it is their upbringing, and as very young souls they are getting the hang of living on this earth. New souls are being manifested all the time, and the growing population as well as the population of other worlds. There is always choice and free will, and we can only do so much to help the young ones. We cannot really interfere as we gave you the choice, and because of this there is no judgment. We are sorry that children suffer. However, they made that choice to be born in poverty-stricken areas, such as India and the Philippines, where there is cruelty to children. Through generations, these things will gradually diminish. As we said before, it takes generations to change thinking and new governments, which will help strike out these terrible atrocities to children. Your children are here to teach the adults. Unfortunately, these adults do not stop to listen until it is too late, and in their contract, they are more often than not end up in a bad situation themselves, or they get really sick and die prematurely. Up here, there is peace and tranquility. Many of you do not want to continue your contracts, but this must be so, to experience many, many different situations. Otherwise, you cannot help people for the greater good once you are through with your lives. To be their guides, to be their support when families go through a lot of tragedy, with faith, grief becomes easier, and we would like to offer you as much help as you want, but please ask. We cannot interfere or help unless you have given us your permission. We look at the wider picture, and for many generations, so rest assured it will get better, and gradually there will be less violence and less hardship. Unfortunately, some religious sects are going to be harder to change, as these top dogs are exactly that, dogs, and they only understand one thing: the placating of the ego. We are doing our best to help get rid of the higher leaders who do not serve humanity in a gentle way. We know organized religion can help many, and this serves them to lead a happier life. But unfortunately, some of the leaders are not ethically sound. Instead, they rely on their own agenda and proclaim God, that is us, saying we agree to this. We have no judgment for them, but we do not encourage it. If they believe they are doing the right thing at that time, and that is the choice they have made. Unfortunately, they take it too far. And with the adrenaline and ruling people, it becomes like a drug, and they are not being their true, authentic self. If they actually truly listen to their soul, then they will not do this out of spite or meanness. They veer off their true path and let the ego take over. It takes over with all the drugs that make people aggressive and the addictions that people continue. And that includes not only drugs, but also cruelty. And the highs it gives people means that they want to perpetuate the habit. We cannot interfere. Instead, we have to wait until they figure it out themselves by a turn of unfortunate events that happens to them, or they die and learn the truth when they get here. Jesus came from love. The Catholic and Christian churches bases their teachings on love. It is unfortunate that man feels in order to spread the word of God, they have to turn to bullying. Muhammad of the Muslim faith came from a place of worship, not necessarily from a place of love. As with everything, times and people's opinions start to skew the truth and change the words that we have tried to relay. Because it didn't serve them and this life, they should have stayed in poverty, but instead suppressed and controlled others cruelly so that their wealth grew. We just wish that it had not monetary things that give you abundance, but instead a rich and fulfilling life, helping and seeing love, compassion and happiness. This is so much more sustaining, and health is better. But do not give to the point of detriment to yourselves. You must find a balance and speak your truth. If you cannot do things for others, be kind and loving, but not to the point of sickness to you. You are no use to anyone if you are sick and cannot continue the amazing work that is set out in the contract and staying on the path. We do love you so much, but you must listen to yourselves and take care of you in order to take care of Gaia. Do not let resentment build up. This will make you sick as well. Know your boundaries and limitations. Be good to yourself, and when you need to rest and have space, then do so. Laughter is needed so much more, so don't watch the news if it upsets you. Do things that make you happy so that you are more equipped and stronger to deal with unfortunate events that will happen. Don't be taken advantage of. Be strong in who you are. Together we can teach others the way of life. It is easier for people to understand by demonstrations of kindness, and they start to feel how good it is in helping others. If you have a good, solid foundation of love and support, then the grief, death, illness, and other experiences of that ilk will be easier to cope with. We love you, and so it is. And so really, that's saying that actually we all have to learn. We walk into unfortunate events. We have to learn. There are no good or bad experiences. There are just experiences. And so a lot of people go, oh, blame God, there is no God because children get cruel. But if you look at the really big picture, the souls who've chosen to go in that path, maybe they can do really good stuff later on in life. We don't know what our paths have been written as. So it's about acceptance, and it's about noticing how you're dealing with your own feelings. It's about not lashing out at other people. It's about maybe just writing it all down, maybe getting rid of it in a different, healthier way. Anger is fine, but you got to get rid of it in a healthy way. Don't smack your friend. Smack a big bouncing ball or a boxing ball, or go for a run up a hill. There are many other ways we're dealing with negative emotions rather than making it personal. And it's about remembering not to lash out. Now, with the children and the human trafficking, these people will all come to a sticky end. We just have to trust the bigger picture. And you just have to notice that maybe a few years down the line, that particular person ended up in a horrible, painful cancer, or they got shot in the foot, literally, or somebody did it to them as what they have done to others. It's like these convicted criminals. There's somebody who's just been convicted of murder, and that's been over 25 years from doing that horrible, savage murder, and yet he thought he got away with it. But yet, 25 years later, he still has to go to prison. So there's a lot of things you just have to trust the process. And our leaders who are not so good at the moment will eventually die, because that's a circle of life. And now the new ones who are 20, 30 years old are coming up with these newly great schemes with all the eco-warriors, which is fantastic, and more love and more equality. And they will eventually come through. So we just got to hang on in there, okay, guys? All right, you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next chapter.